Ever struggled with chunky smoothies that ruin your morning energy? Today, that frustration ends. Welcome to the top 6 best single smoothies blender guide, where we break down powerful, compact options for perfect blends every time. Stay tuned, explore wisely, and check the links in the description to grab your ideal pick easily. On number 6 is Hamilton Beach 14 ounce. A perfect smoothie doesn't start with fruit, it starts with the right blender. Most people don't realize their morning routine breaks because of one weak link: inconsistent blending. In the top 6 best single smoothies blender lineup, simplicity often wins the first round. The Hamilton Beach 14 ounce proves that clearly. Compact design. Quick blend and go system. No messy transfers. You load ingredients, blend directly in the cup, and head out instantly. That's the kind of flow busy mornings need. Compared to others, it won't crush ice-heavy mixes with the same force, but it excels in everyday smoothies, protein shakes, and soft blends. The trade-off is power for convenience, but that trade feels intentional, not limiting. Cleanup is almost effortless, and storage takes barely any space. When a tool removes friction instead of adding steps, your routine stops feeling delayed and starts feeling naturally easy to repeat every single day. At number 5 is Turelar Blender Machine. Most smoothies fail before they even reach the cup because the blender can't keep up. That's the hidden frustration people rarely talk about. In the top 6 best single smoothies blender, performance becomes the real difference between a smooth start and a disappointing mess. The Turelar Blender Machine steps into that gap with steady, practical power. It's built for everyday blending without overcomplication. Drop in fruits, protein mix, or soft ice, and it works through them with consistent motion. No dramatic setup. No learning curve. Compared to others, it offers more blending strength and capacity, making it better suited for slightly heavier smoothies. However, it is less travel-friendly than ultra-portable mini blenders. That's the trade-off: power over pocket-size convenience. Cleanup remains straightforward, and operation feels intuitive from the first use. When a blender removes hesitation from your morning routine, it quietly turns healthy habits into something you don't have to think twice about. At number 4 is Nutribullet 32 ounce. A smooth smoothie isn't a luxury, it's usually a timing problem in disguise. When mornings get rushed, most people settle for uneven blends or skip nutrition completely. That's where the top 6 best single smoothies blender lineup starts to matter, and the Nutribullet 32 ounce stands out for its balance of size and consistency. It feels built for real life, big enough for family portions, yet simple enough for one person to use. Just load ingredients, lock the cup, and it powers through fruits, greens, and soft ice with steady force. Compared to others, it delivers a smoother, more refined texture thanks to stronger blending capacity and wider cup volume. The trade-off is counter space and slightly less portability, but it rewards you with reliability. Cleanup is quick, and assembly is intuitive even on busy mornings. When blending stops being a task and starts becoming effortless, healthy routines finally stay consistent without feeling forced. On number 3 is Pakay 500 Milliliter. Most people don't fail their smoothie routine because of ingredients, they fail because their blender feels too big, too slow, or too complicated for one simple job. In the top 6 best single smoothie blenders, simplicity becomes a real advantage, and the Pakay 500 Milliliter proves it in a very practical way. It's compact, lightweight, and designed for quick personal blends without wasting time or space. You load your fruits, protein mix, or soft ingredients, blend directly in the bottle, and you're done in seconds. That's its entire strength: effortless use. Compared to others, it doesn't aim for family-sized capacity or ultra-smooth heavy-duty blending, but it wins in portability and speed. You can carry it anywhere: work, gym, or travel without thinking twice. The downside is limited volume and less power for tough ice, but for daily quick smoothies, it stays reliable. When convenience removes hesitation, healthy habits stop feeling planned and start happening naturally every day. At number 2 is Befano 1200 watts. Most people don't need another blender, they need the right kind of force that actually finishes the job in one try. That's the hidden truth behind the top 6 best single smoothies blender, where power changes everything. The Befano 1200 watts stands at the top end of this list for a reason. It doesn't hesitate. Thick fruits, frozen chunks, protein mixes, everything gets broken down into a smooth, drinkable texture in seconds. No repeated shaking. No second blend. Compared to others, it delivers a completely different level of performance, especially when ingredients get dense or icy. The trade-off is size and less portability, but what you gain is consistency that feels almost effortless. It's not built for travel, it's built for results. Cleanup is straightforward, and operation stays simple despite the power. When blending stops failing mid-process, your mornings feel less rushed and more controlled, turning a basic smoothie into a reliable daily habit you can actually depend on. Now moving to the last one is Yabano 500 watts. Most smoothie failures don't come from ingredients, they come from blenders that quit halfway through the job. That single frustration is why the top 6 best single smoothies blender category matters so much. And within that space, the Yabano 500 watts brings a practical middle ground that many people overlook. It's not overly complicated, not overly weak either. Just steady blending power that gets through fruits, soft ice, and protein mixes without turning your morning into a retry session. Compared to others, it delivers noticeably stronger texture consistency, especially when ingredients are slightly frozen or dense. You give up some portability, but you gain reliability in everyday use. The blending feels controlled, not rushed or uneven. Cleanup stays simple, and the design doesn't demand learning, it just works. When a blender removes uncertainty from your first sip of the day, it quietly upgrades your routine into something that finally feels dependable and stress-free. In this lineup of small to mid-range blenders, power, durability, and consistency matter most, and Befano clearly leads on raw performance. It crushes ice, handles thick protein shakes, and doesn't struggle like lower wattage travel blenders. Compared to others, it delivers a much smoother texture in one cycle instead of repeated blending. It holds its ground in motor strength, though it's slightly less compact. If you want a blender that doesn't try, it just finishes the job, Befano 1200 watts is that upgrade. It saves time, reduces frustration, and gives consistently smooth shakes without reblending. For daily protein use, it simply feels more reliable than the rest. So guys, this was the video about the top 6 best single smoothies blender. All the links are given in the description, do check them out. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Thank you.